Hello student. In today's session we have to start electromagnetic induction. So this is a very important topic in physics point of view. So first thing, what exactly mean by the electromagnetic induction? Basically, before this chapter, we already learned one article, magnetic effect of electric current. In that magnetic effect of electric current, when current is passed through a conductor, magnetic field is produced in its surrounding area. Means we can produce magnetic field by using electric current. The same is, can we produce electric current by using magnetic field? The answer is yes. And that phenomena to produce a current by using magnetic field is called as electromagnetic induction. The phenomena in which we are producing or we are inducing a current or EMF by using magnetic field is called as electromagnetic induction. Now, let me try to understand this electromagnetic induction with the help of Faraday's experiment. So, next article is Faraday's experiment. The conclusion of this experiment we have to write in the form of laws. So, let I explain Faraday's experiment. So, Faraday's experiment Faraday done the experiment by two methods. First method is coil magnet and the second one is coil experiment. So let I explain by coil magnet. So I consider this is a coil and here we attach galvanometer. So this is a pointer of the galvanometer and this is a magnet. This is N pole, this is S pole. So when this magnet is at rest, no deflection in the galvanometer. So galvanometer is basically used to detect current. So if current flows through this coil, the galvanometer detects the current and shows the deflection. So basically when this magnet is at one point, no deflection in the galvanometer. As we start moving this magnet towards the coil, then we observe deflection in the galvanometer. Again, after moving some distance, if we again stop the magnet, then again current is 0. So current is, we can see the current only when magnet is coming towards the coil, as well as when we are moving the magnet away from the coil, that time the current we can see in a opposite direction. Means here in simple word, we can say that we can observe this current only in particular situation when the magnet is in motion. So this current is called as induced current. It is for that moment only, for the moment the magnet is in motion. So this current is called as induced current and the corresponding EMF is called as induced EMF. Now see here. So when magnet is in motion, exactly what happens? So this magnetic flux, when the magnetic flux of this magnet associated with the coil changes, that time only we observe this induced current. It means that we can write the conclusion here. EMF is induced only when magnetic flux changes. So change in magnetic flux is 0, no current, no EMF in the galvanometer. So I hope everyone understood this. Similar thing we can explain with the help of coil experiment also. So this is coil, again this is a galvanometer and this is second coil. So here we can give some current, means we can give input here. So basically pay attention, when we send a current through this coil, then magnetic flux link with this coil changes and that time we observe the deflection in the galvanometer. Later on, after some time, I consider here this is a battery, positive and negative. Okay. So when the current is initially switched on, means here if I consider a switch, when we pass the current, that time the magnetic flux linked with the second coil changes, we get a deflection in the galvanometer, current is induced. Then later on current attain a constant value and no deflection in the galvanometer. Again, when we switch off this switch, or we can say that switch off the current through this coil, then at that moment also we can see a little EMF is induced or current is induced in this coil. So basically, in simple word, we can write here, EMF is induced only when the magnetic flux associated with the coil changes. Now, the conclusion of this experiment, Faraday's experiment, written in the form of Faraday's law. So the next article is Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. Electromagnetic induction. Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. Now I can explain here the first law, Faraday's first law. Faraday's first law gives idea or gives cause of EMF induced. What is the cause? Magnetic flux changes, EMF induced. So whenever we can write the first law, whenever there is change in magnetic flux associated with the coil, EMF is induced. This is the first law. I repeat it again. Whenever there is change in magnetic flux associated with coil, then EMF is induced in coil. So this is first law. Second law, Faraday's second law. Faraday's second law gives magnitude of EMF induced. How much is EMF induced? Listen. So for that, let I explain the experiment again. When this magnet we are moving slowly to and fro, so that time we can see some EMF is induced, some current is induced here. But as we increase the speed of the magnet, that time we observe that the more deflection in the galvanometer, it means that the more current. So it means that here, this EMF induced or the current induced depends on what? Rate of change of magnetic flux. More the rate of change of magnetic flux, more the EMF is induced. So we can write here, EMF induced directly proportional to rate of change of magnetic flux. So where phi is a magnetic flux, where phi is magnetic flux. So EMF induced in a coil is directly proportional to d by dt means rate of change of magnetic flux associated with coil. Now here I can write a constant, I can write constant K, but the constant in this case having a value 1. So I can directly write here 1. So we get d phi by dt. So EMF induced is given by this formula. So this is a Faraday's law. I hope everyone understood this Faraday's law. Hello student. Now we learn a Lenz's law of electromagnetic induction. So in previous video we learned Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. Faraday's first law gives us cause of induced EMF. Second law gives us magnitude of induced EMF. But both the laws unable to give us direction of induced EMF. The direction of the induced EMF is given by the Lenz's law of electromagnetic induction. Now let's see the statement of the Lenz's law. The statement is the direction of induced EMF. The direction of induced EMF is such that which opposes change in magnetic flux. So this is the statement. Now, how this statement gives us the direction? Let I explain it. So direction of induced EMF is such that which opposes change in magnetic flux. Now let I explain this. So explanation. So for that we consider a coil. So I consider only one turn of the coil. So this is a coil. So when we bring this bar magnet having N pole towards this coil, then what happens? The magnetic flux associated with the coil increases. Magnetic flux increases. Then to oppose this increase in magnetic flux, because here the direction of induced EMF is such that which opposes the change in magnetic flux. So here as we move the magnet towards the coil, the magnetic flux associated with this coil increases. And to oppose this change in increase in magnetic flux, we have, means here N pole is produced on the face of the coil, and you know that N and N repulsion force is there. So here this increase in the magnetic flux is opposed. So as you know that when the N pole is produced on the face of the coil, the direction is anti-clockwise direction. So therefore the direction of induced EMF is in anti-clockwise direction. So this is the case 1. Now in case 2, if I consider instead of this N pole moving towards the coil, we have to move this N pole away from the coil, or I will explain it here only. So if this N pole is moved away from this coil, then what happens? The magnetic flux associated with the coil decreases. Magnetic flux decreases. Then to oppose this decrease in magnetic flux, so here S pole is produced on the face of the coil. Then only this decrease in the magnetic flux is opposed. As S pole is produced on the face of the coil, it means that direction is in clockwise direction. Means here the direction of induced EMF is in clockwise direction. So therefore here we learn this Lenz's law. I hope everyone understood the meaning of this statement. So direction of induced EMF is such that which opposes the change in magnetic flux. As we learn here, the Lenz's law statement, the direction of induced EMF is such that which opposes the change in magnetic flux. Hence, we can write this law in this format. E is equal to minus d phi by dt. This negative sign indicates that this EMF opposes this d phi by dt. d phi by dt is the change in magnetic flux, rate of change of magnetic flux. So here we can put the negative sign. Now we have to learn motional EMF. In that we have to consider 2 cases here. The case number 1. When straight conductor is moved in uniform magnetic field. Now in this case, how much is the EMF induced in that conductor that we have to obtain? So when straight conductor is moved in uniform magnetic field, let I consider a straight conductor of length L is moved in uniform magnetic field with velocity v. So this is velocity of conductor and the field strength means magnetic field is B, magnetic induction. Let I consider dx is thickness of conductor. So what we consider here? We consider a straight conductor of length L is moved in uniform magnetic field of induction B with velocity v. Let dx is the thickness of the conductor. Now let I draw the diagram here. So here, so this is the magnetic field. So this is straight conductor. Thickness dx, length L, and it is moved with speed with velocity v. Let I show the magnetic field also by this type of signs. So direction of magnetic field is like this in a plane of paper. Okay. Now here we have a formula of EMF induced that we use. Hence EMF induced is by Faraday's law EMF induced is E is equal to, I am considering the magnitude here, so d phi by dt. So this is the formula. Now here we can use this formula. So here d phi, this d phi we can write B into dA divided by dt. So we have a formula of flux phi is equal to, we know the formula of flux phi is equal to B bar dot A bar, or B into A basically. Now here B as it is, dA, this is the area. Now this area of the conductor is length multiplied by this thickness. So I can write L multiplied by thickness is dx divided by dt, or we can write BL dx by dt. So this is EMF induced, or I can write this is BL dx by dt, I can write velocity. So EMF induced in a straight conductor is BLV. So remember this formula very well for the problem point of view. Problem may be asked if straight conductor whose length is given is moved in uniform magnetic field of induction B, and then we have to find out the EMF induced, then we can use this formula. I hope you understood. Now the second case we have to discuss here. When straight conductor is rotated about one end, I can write it here, is rotated about one end in uniform magnetic field. So only the thing is here I have to write rotated about one end. When straight conductor is rotated about one end in uniform magnetic field, how much is EMF induced in the conductor, that we have to find out. So I consider conductor of length L is rotated with angular velocity omega. So I can consider here omega, angular velocity, in uniform magnetic field of induction B. Take it, that we consider. Now after that, we have to draw a diagram here. So let I draw a diagram. So this is straight conductor whose length is L and it is rotated about one end. So we get this type of motion. Now I consider, so here a part of this conductor, and that part I named it as a dx. Now the velocity of this part is v. You know that in circular motion velocity is tangential. So I consider this dx. Now first we consider EMF induced in this dx part, or I can write dr or dl. I write dl here. So this is a dl, is a small length element of this conductor. Then EMF induced. So I consider dl is small portion of conductor. Hence EMF induced in dl is. So I can write, you know, the EMF induced in a straight conductor is given by formula E is equal to, just we learn, BLV. This is a formula. So this formula we can use. Instead of E, I can use DE because it's a small part, DE. So B is the magnetic field, length of this part is DL, and speed is V. So equation number 1 we get. So this is the EMF induced. Now after that, EMF induced, we have to find out the total EMF induced. So total EMF induced we get by integrating this. Hence, total EMF induced is So E is equal to integration of this dE. So I can write it here, integration sign B dl V. So this V we can write R omega, but V is equal to R omega. So here R omega, the radius is L. So I can write V is equal to L omega. So you have a formula V is equal to R omega. By that we can write it. Hence E is equal to integration of B dl L omega. Now B is a constant, omega is constant, take it out. Integration of L dl. So integration of L dl is L square by 2. So B omega L square by 2. So we get a formula 1 by 2 B omega L square, and this is EMF induced in this conductor which is rotated about one end in uniform magnetic field. I hope everyone understood this. Also, the same formula we can write. Also, you know that omega is, by this formula, V by L. So, V by L. Hence, you can write it here. E is equal to 1 by 2 B V by L into L square. This 1L and L get cancelled. 1 by 2 B VL or BLV I can write. So you know that in straight conductor, when straight conductor is moved in uniform magnetic field, then EMF induced is BLV, E is equal to BLV. But when it is rotated about one end, then EMF induced is half BLV. So this is EMF induced. I hope everyone understood this article. When straight conductor is rotated about one end, then how much is EMF induced in that conductor. So you can see in exercise questions are asked based on this article. Hello student, we have to learn article electromagnetic induction and energy transfer. So to learn this article, we consider a loop of wire ABCD. So this is loop of wire ABCD. It is placed in uniform magnetic field B. So this is magnetic field B. So this is direction of the magnetic field. It is in the plane of the paper. Now we have to consider this loop. Let I give the name PQRS or ABCD. Any name you can give, PQRS. So when we pull this loop with speed or with velocity V in this direction, then magnetic flux associated with this loop changes and EMF is induced and the current is induced. So let I consider here the current is induced in this loop in clockwise direction. So I can show here the current. Take. Then you know that current carrying conductor experiences some force in magnetic field. So I can consider here this side experiences force F1, this side experiences force F2, and this side experiences force F3. Now here the current through this segment PQ is toward this side and current through this segment SR is toward this side. Force experienced by both the segments is given by formula ILB sin theta. So here theta is 90 degree because this length of the conductor and the magnetic field is perpendicular. So the force is ILB. So current is same, I, length of both the segment are same, so and magnetic field is same, so they experiences same force. F2 and F3 both are same, so F2 and F3 cancel with each other, so they cancel with each other. So here F2 and F3 cancel with each other. So here only on this segment PS, the force F1 is acting. So I can write the force acting on segment PS is, so I can write F1 is equal to ILB if I consider L is the length of this segment. So ILB is the force, equation number 1. Now when we pull this current, this wire loop, then EMF is induced, current is induced. That EMF induced, I can write here, EMF induced in loop, what PQRS is. So I can write EMF induced by formula E is equal to BLV. We already learned in the previous videos, EMF induced in a straight conductor when moved in uniform magnetic field is BLV. Hence, current, I can write here induced current. Current is I is equal to E by R. So I can consider E is the EMF induced and R is the resistance of this PS side. So we can write here BLV divided by R. So this is the induced current, equation number 2. Now, some mechanical work is done when we pull this current, when we pull this wire loop, some mechanical work is done, and that work done we find out. Hence, work done, or I can directly write the rate at which work is done to pull this wire loop, or we can directly write down the power or the rate at which mechanical work is done. Is means power basically. So formula is work by time. So work is force into displacement. I consider displacement dx. So this coil is pulled with some distance dx divided by time dt. Then dx by dt is velocity. So F into V I can write for this power. Now here the formula of F is given by equation number 1. So I written F1 here. Let I write F1 also here. Take ILB. This velocity V as it is. In that I can substitute equation 2 also. I is BLV divided by R and into this LBV. So this B into B, B square. This L into L, L square. V into V, V square divided by R. So this is equation number 3. I hope this equation is visible here. Take it. So B square, L square, V square. This is a mechanical power. Similar manner, we can find out when this thermal power also here. Also, thermal power is, because when current is passed through this conductor, then so here the conductor gets heated. So the thermal power we can find out here. So power is equal to I square R. So this is the formula of power. And we have a formula of I square. It is BLV divided by R into this R. This is bracket square. So we get B square, L square, V square divided by R square into this R. This R and 1 R from R square get cancelled. So B square, L square, V square divided by R. So this is the thermal power. Equation number 4. Now you can see here from equation 3 and 4. You can see equation 3. This is equation 3. This is the rate at which mechanical work is done, and this is the rate at which the heat is produced in a conductor. So both the formulas are same here. So it means that whatever the mechanical work we are doing, that mechanical work is converted into the heat. So both the rate of work done are same, or both the powers are same. So therefore, we can conclude that here the energy is conserved. Means whatever the mechanical work we are doing to pull the coil, that mechanical work done is converted into heat. and because of that we get same formulas here. I hope everyone understood here this electromagnetic induction and energy transfer. Means here mechanical energy is transferred into the heat energy. Now we start eddy current. Eddy current. Now what is eddy current? Basically here the dictionary meaning of eddy is whirlpool. So you can see whirlpool in a water. Now, so what exactly mean by the eddy current? Pay attention here. We consider this a metal plate or metal block. When this metal block is placed in changing magnetic field, then here a circulating current is induced in a metal block. So when metal plate is placed in changing magnetic field, then circulating current is induced, and this circulating current is like eddy or whirlpool. So this current is called as eddy current. So it is induced only when this metal block is placed in changing magnetic field or it is moved in uniform magnetic field. If we move this metal plate in uniform magnetic field, then also the magnetic flux related to this metal plate changes, and then a circulating current is induced, and it is called as eddy current. So eddy current means, we can write a definition, the circulating current induced in a metal plate or block when placed in changing magnetic field or moved in uniform magnetic field. Uniform magnetic field is called as eddy current. This current is also called as Foucault current. So it is also called as Foucault current because it is first time shown by scientist Foucault. So it is also called as Foucault's current. Now you remember here, so you can see this type of circulating current here. But eddy current does not produce sparking. So here you remember one note here, it does not produce sparking. Then we have to learn some applications of eddy current. Applications. So where we can use eddy current? The first application. Eddy current is used in induction furnace to melt metal. So how we can melt metal? Listen here, when the eddy current is produced in a metal, the metal gets heated. So therefore, we can use eddy current to melt the metal in induction furnace. So it is used in induction furnace. Second application, it is used in brakes of electric train. Now how we can use eddy current in the brakes of electric train? Basically, pay attention here, when we produce eddy current in that wheel of the train, then it opposes the motion of the wheel. So therefore we can use it in brakes of electric train. So brakes of electric train. Next one is eddy current is used in deadbeat galvanometer to damp unwanted oscillation of pointer. It is used in deadbeat galvanometer to damp unwanted oscillation of pointer. So every this deadbeat galvanometer having some eddy current adjustment. If that adjustment is disturbed, then the pointer is getting unwanted oscillation, and that oscillation, to damp that unwanted oscillation, eddy current adjustment is essential here. Similar manner, eddy current is also used in speedometer of vehicle. Now we start a next article, and it is self-induction. What is self-induction? Self means because of own. Self-induction. Listen, when current is passed through a coil and then EMF is induced in the same coil, it is called as self-induction. Self-induction means the phenomenon of production of EMF in a coil due to change in current in same coil is called as self-induction. Means when we pass the current through one coil, means current through a coil, then EMF is induced in the same coil. That phenomena is called as self-induction. Now here we consider one current carrying coil. Consider, so this is a current carrying coil. So here positive, negative, we send some current here. So I can consider here key here. So when we send the current through this coil, then EMF is induced in the coil. It is called as self-induction. Now when we send the current here, then magnetic field is produced and magnetic flux associated with the coil changes, and because of that EMF is induced. And that magnetic flux proportional to the current. The magnetic flux depends on the current. More the current in the coil, more the magnetic flux. So here magnetic flux proportional to the current. So we can write here a constant. I write constant L. So L is a constant and it is called as where. So I can write it here. So where L is constant and called as coefficient of self-inductance or self-inductance. Self-inductance. L is self-inductance. Hence, I can write here EMF induced is. So we know the formula of EMF induced is E is equal to d phi by dt. So I can substitute this phi. So minus d phi by dt, I can write minus d by dt of L into I. Now L is a constant, we can take it out. So L, so minus L di by dt. So E is equal to this formula we get. So E is equal to minus L di by dt. Okay. So in another word, so this EMF opposes this change in current. So here in magnitude, so in magnitude we can write E is equal to L di by dt. So here we get this formula. Hence I can write a formula of L is equal to E upon di by dt. So this is a formula of self-inductance. So self-inductance is L. So we can write SI unit also. SI unit of L. Now see here, unit of E is volt. Then unit of I is current. Sorry, ampere. Volt divided by ampere. Divided by time is second. So volt divided by ampere into second. So I can write like this way also, volt divided by ampere into this second. So volt by ampere, volt means unit of potential, ampere means unit of current. So here unit of potential is volt and unit of current is ampere. So potential divided by current is a resistance. So volt divided by ampere is also unit of resistance and it is ohm. So we can write here ohm and this second as it is. Okay? So I can write like this way in a symbolic form, ohm second. And it is also called as Henry. So unit is Henry here. So you note one thing here. So I can write it here to manage space, ohm second, and which is equal to Henry. So Henry is the name of scientist. So symbol we can write it by capital H. So this is the SI unit. You can use Henry, you can use ohm second, or you can use volt per amperes into second. Okay. Now we can write a definition of this self inductance. Definition of self inductance. So you can write definition by this formula. So ratio of E and di by dt is called as self inductance L. So definition of self inductance L we have to write here. So the ratio of, we can write here, the ratio of E is what? EMF induced in a coil. The ratio of EMF induced in a coil to the di by dt is what? It is rate of change of current to the rate of change of current in same coil is called as self inductance. It is also called as coefficient of self inductance or coefficient of self inductance. So here we learn self induction article. I hope everyone understood this self inductance article. Hello everyone. In this session we have to start a new article and it is mutual induction. So we already learned self induction in the previous video. So we have to learn mutual induction. So the new title is mutual induction. Now mutual induction means what? Mutual means because of other, because of neighboring coil. So here self means because of own. So phenomena of production of EMF in a coil due to change in current in same coil is called as self induction. So instead of same coil here, because of neighboring coil. So neighboring coil, only I change this word. So here two coils are there. I can consider one more coil here. And here we can attach galvanometer. So this is a galvanometer. So when we change the current in one coil, EMF is induced in other coil and it is called as mutual induction. Means change in current in one and EMF in other coil. So it is mutual induction. Now here we can write, when we send the current, then magnetic flux associated with the coil changes and this magnetic flux depends on the current. So more the magnetic flux, more the current. Or we can write here, this magnetic flux is equal to, I can write a constant M and this current I as it is. So here M is a constant and called as mutual inductance. Now we can write EMF induced is minus d phi by dt. This phi we can substitute. So the phi is M into this I. So M is a constant, take it out. So we get E is equal to minus M di by dt. Now in magnitude we can write without negative sign only. So E is equal to M di by dt. Hence we can write a formula of this mutual inductance. M is equal to this. SI unit is ohm second or Henry. Definition of mutual inductance. It is written by, we can write definition by using this formula. The ratio of EMF induced in a coil in this to the rate of change of current in neighboring coil. Means EMF is induced in one coil and current is changed in other coil. So the EMF induced in a coil to the rate of change of current in neighboring coil is called as mutual inductance. So this is the definition. I hope everyone understood this mutual induction means what. So this article is very much similar to the article self-induction. So one more thing you remember here, this flux depends on the number of turns. So I can write number of turns is, if number of turns are n, then n into this phi we can write m into this I. So in that way also we can write. Now we start inductance of solenoid. Now inductance of solenoid. So here we consider one solenoid carrying current I. Then consider solenoid which carries the current I. Then the magnetic field produced by solenoid is magnetic field produced by solenoid is, we already learned this formula in the previous chapter. Magnetic field produced by solenoid along its axis is given by formula B is equal to N mu 0 I or mu 0 Ni. Mu 0 Ni. In this formula, I is the current, N is the number of turns per unit length. N is not the number of turns, it is the number of turns per unit length. Mu 0 is permeability. N, I can write this N as a N upon L, number of turns per unit length. So I can write here is an N is equal to N by L. So this is the magnetic field. Hence, we know, just we already learned, N into magnetic flux is equal to L into I for a solenoid or for a coil. So by using that, I can write L is equal to N into this phi divided by I. So this is the formula. Now here, this flux we have to write, and this flux is B into A. So this flux we can write B into A. So this N is B into A divided by I. But B, we already have a formula of B. So we can write L is equal to N into this A divided by I, and this B we can write mu 0 Ni divided by L. So here I, we can write I by small letter, so I here. So here also small I. Now this I and this I get cancelled. So we get mu 0, this N into this N square, mu 0 N square A by L. So this is the formula for inductance of solenoid. Also same formula we can write. Small n is capital N by L, or we can write capital N is equal to small n into L. So I substitute this. Hence L is equal to mu 0 N L square into this A divided by L. So this formula we can write mu 0 N square L square A by L. This L and 1 L from L square get cancelled. So we get mu 0 N square L into A. So this is the formula This is also a formula of this inductance of solenoid. Now you note one thing here. This L is the length of the solenoid, A is the area of solenoid. So length of the solenoid multiplied by area of the solenoid is the volume of the solenoid. So instead of this we can substitute volume also, means we can write this formula in a modified format also. So I hope you understood how we get this formula for inductance of solenoid. And by this formula you can conclude that this inductance proportional to square of the number of turns or number of turns per unit length also. Now we have to learn energy stored in inductor, or we can write a title like this way also, energy stored in magnetic field. For that we consider an inductor. So when we increase the current through inductor, then magnetic flux increases. And you know that EMF opposes the increase in magnetic flux or change in magnetic flux. Ultimately, we can say that as we increase current, EMF opposes the increase in current. EMF opposes this increase in current. Then, to maintain constant current, some work is done. And that work done is nothing but the energy stored. So you know that work and energy both are equivalent. Now let me find out how much is the work done here, and that work done we can write as the energy stored in magnetic field. So consider a charge dq is circulated. Consider a charge dq is circulated through that inductor, through that conductor. Okay. When charge dq is circulated, some work is done. So work done, hence work done to circulate this charge dq. The work done to circulate a charge dq. Work done to circulate, work done is, I directly write it here. So I can write dw. So we know the formula of potential, W by Q. So by that formula, work done, we can write potential into charge. So instead of V only, here I am using E. So work done is equal to E into the charges dQ. So minus sign. So negative sign is because this work is done against the EMF. So I can write it here. Negative sign due to work done against EMF. Okay, so we get this formula. Now, but L is equal to minus E, sorry, L is equal to, sorry, E is equal to minus L di by dt. So that we have to substitute. Hence, work done is equal to minus E. Instead of this minus E, I can substitute minus L di by dt into this dq. So minus minus plus, so L di by dt into this dq. So this formula we get. Now here dq divided by dt, L, I can write di, then dq divided by dt. So this dq divided by dt is current. So but dq by dt is current I. Hence, this work done I can write like this way. L, and this I can write I into this di. So equation number 1. So this is smaller work done to circulate a charge. So basically, so total work done to maintain this current is, hence, total work done to maintain current or to send current or to increase current, I can write to increase current from 0 to I, capital I can consider is. So this work done we can write integration 0 to I dw. So this 0 to I is the limit. So L I di I can write. L is a constant. So integration L I di. So integration of I di is I square by 2. So L I square by 2, and these are the limit 0 to I. So instead of this small I can substitute upper limit I. So I can write it here to manage the space. So L I square divided by 2 minus, instead of this I can write a lower limit 0 square by 2, 0. So we get here a work done is equal to 1 by 2 L I square. So this is the work done, and this work done is stored in the form of magnetic energy. This work done is stored in the form of energy or magnetic energy. Hence, energy stored is equal to half L I square. So this is the formula for energy stored. I hope everyone understood how we get this energy stored. Or I can write the same like this way also by symbolic form. Energy stored 1 by 2 L I square. Energy stored I can represent by U, capital U. And this energy stored is analogous to the electrostatic energy stored. In electrostatic chapter we learn energy stored by capacitor, and it is half CV square. And here energy stored by inductor is half Li square. Magnetic energy. This is electrostatic energy. So both the energies are analogous. So you can see the same type of formulas here. Now we start a new article, and it is coefficient of coupling. Now what is the coefficient of coupling? Basically, it is the fraction of magnetic flux produced by current carrying coil. Current carrying one coil linked with other coil is called as coefficient of coupling. Coefficient of coupling. So pay attention here. So when the current is passed through one coil, the magnetic flux is produced by the one coil. Then how much the magnetic flux of one coil is linked to the other coil is the coefficient of coupling. Now see here, the magnetic flux of coil 1 is 100% linked to the coil 2. Then we can say that coefficient of coupling is 1. The maximum value of the coefficient of coupling is 1 if all the magnetic flux of one coil linked to the other coil. Then this coefficient of coupling is 1. And it is called as perfectly coupled coils. It is called as perfectly coupled. As well as if the coefficient of coupling, generally if it is greater than 0.5, if coefficient of coupling is greater than 0.5, then it is called as tightly coupled. Then it is called as tightly coupled. And if this K less than 0.5, then it is called as loosely coupled. Okay. Now here, let's see a coil. Then I can write here mutual inductance of coil 2 with respect to the coil 1. Mutual inductance of coil 2 due to the current in coil 1. It is given by formula. So we have one formula which we learned in the previous article. This N into phi is equal to this M into this I. By using this formula we can write N into phi 2 divided by I1. And mutual inductance of coil 1 with respect to the coil 2 is N1 phi 1 divided by current 2. Hence, here I can write M21 multiplied by M12. Mutual inductance of coil 2 with respect to coil 1 multiplied by mutual inductance of coil 1 with respect to 2 is equal to N2 phi 2 divided by I1 multiplied by N1 phi 1 divided by I2. I can write this I2 to this side and I1 to that side. Then we get N2 phi 2 divided by I2 multiplied by N1 phi 1 divided by I1. So this I can write L2 and this as a L1. So here we get M21 multiplied by M12 is this. Now we consider here let M21 and M12 they are equal, then is equal to M I can write here. Then hence M into M square is equal to L1 multiplied by L2. So here we get M square is equal to L1 multiplied by L2. So I can write the same formula. Hence M max is equal to root L1 L2. So this is the value of maximum mutual inductance under root L1 L2. In general, I can write in general also. This mutual inductance we can write K under root L1 L2. And this K is coefficient of coupling. Coefficient of coupling. Now here you remember one thing here. We can write some special cases. For perfectly coupled. Perfectly coupled coils. K is 1. Means this is the maximum mutual inductance we get for perfectly coupled coil. Tightly coupled coil. Tightly coupled coils. K is greater than 0.5. And the last case we can say that for loosely coupled coils, K is less than 0.5. So you remember here coefficient of coupling is 1. It is perfectly coupled coils. Greater than 0.5, tightly coupled, less than 0.5, loosely coupled. But here generally we cannot observe perfectly coupled coils. Means K cannot be 1. By practically K cannot be 1. We are not getting perfectly coupled coil. So this is the coefficient of coupling article. I hope everyone understood this. Now we start new article, transformer. Now first thing, what is transformer? So basically transformer is a device which is used to convert high AC to low AC or vice versa. Means low AC to high AC also. That device is called as transformer. Generally, if we see the home equipment, near about 80% home equipment, we are using transformer. For example, mobile charger. Basically, we require 6 volt to charge a mobile battery. 6 volt, 7 volt as per the specification of the phone. Now here, we are getting 230 volt in from the MACB. So that 230 volt, we have to decrease it to the 6 volt. So for that purpose, we require transformer, which convert high alternating current to low alternating current. Basically, transformer can convert 230 volt AC to 6 volt AC. Then after the transformer, we are using rectifier to convert that 6 volt AC to 6 volt DC. Means after transformer, we are using rectifier to convert into DC, because to charge a mobile battery, we require DC. Okay. Now here we have to learn in detail about the transformer. So remember, the device which convert high alternating current to low alternating current or low to high. That is called as transformer. Now the principle of transformer. Principle. The transformer is based on principle of mutual induction. It is based on principle of mutual induction. Mutual induction means what? So, production of EMF in one coil due to current change in other coil. That is the mutual induction. We already learned the mutual induction in detail. Now here let's see construction. Construction of transformer. Basically, transformer consists of rectangular soft iron core. So you can see this is rectangular soft iron core. So I can name it soft iron core. Placed one above another, insulated from each other, and they are placed one above another. Then insulated copper wire is wound on its two opposite arms. The coil at which input is given, if the coil here input is given, then this coil is called as primary coil. And the coil at which output is taken, if we are taken output here, then this coil is called as secondary coil. So this is the construction. Let I tell you the construction again. Transformer consists of rectangular soft iron core placed one above another, insulated from each other. The insulated copper wire is wound on its two opposite arms. The coil at which input is given is called as primary coil, and the coil at which output is taken is called as secondary coil. Now let's see working. So after the construction, working of transformer. So principle is a mutual induction. Now this mutual induction we have to explain with respect to this case. Then it is a working of the transformer. We are applying here AC, alternating current, alternating voltage. When alternating voltage is applied across primary, then magnetic flux link with, then as due to this changing current, magnetic flux is produced, and due to that magnetic flux, the current is induced or EMF is induced in secondary as well as in primary. It is induced in primary, that is called as self-induction, and it is induced in secondary is called as mutual induction. We are getting output because of the mutual induction. So the principle is mutual induction. So let I tell you the working again. When alternating voltage is applied across this primary coil, due to this changing current, magnetic flux link with both the coil changes and EMF is induced in primary and secondary coil. So this is the working. Now let I consider that. Let phi is magnetic flux. Magnetic flux linked with both coil. Then I can consider here few terms. Let I write it here. NS or NP, I write first. NP, number of turns of primary. NS, number of turns of secondary coil. Then EP, EMF induced in primary. ES, EMF induced in secondary coil. Then IP, current in primary. A current induced in primary you can write. And IS, current induced in secondary coil. P. Hence we can write here EMF across this secondary is equal to d phi by dt. So here the flux and number of turns, they are related. So n into this is secondary, so ns into this phi. Or I can write it here, hence Es is equal to ns into this d phi by dt. Then after that we can write Ep also, d by dt of this np into this phi. Hence Ep is equal to np into this d phi by dt. So here we get EMF induced in secondary, EMF induced in primary. Let me take the division of these two. Hence Es divided by Ep. This divided by this. d phi by dt get cancelled and we get ns by np. So this formula we get, where this ns by np, number of turns of secondary divided by number of turns of primary. This is called as turns ratio. So let I give the equation number 1. Now we use ideal case. Ideal case means what? Input power is equal to output power. Whatever we are given at input, the power, we are talking about the power, we get at output also. Ideally, in ideal case, power input is equal to power output. Power input is equal to power output. Now let I write the formulas here. Input power, we know the formula of power I into V. So by using that input power, we can write EP IP. So input we are given at primary, so EP into this IP. So instead of V, we are using E in this chapter. So E into this I is the power. So input power is EP/IP. Output power, IS or ESIS. ESIS. So by using that, we can write ES and EP I can shift to that side. So divide by EP. IS we can shift to this side. IP divided by IS. Hence we get ES by EP is equal to IP by IS. So this formula, and this is equation number 2. You can see this equation 1 and 2. So one side is same. From equation 1 and 2, we can write the first hand formula for transformer. NS by NP is equal to IP by IS. So here we get a first hand formula. Now by this formula, ES and NS, they are proportional. To get more ES, number of turns of secondary must be large. As we keep the larger terms of the secondary, we get a more output and less current. You can see number of turns and current, they are inversely related. It means that more the number of turns, less the current. Okay, so that you can remember. So based on this, there are two types of the transformer. That types of the transformer also we have to discuss. Types of transformer. The first one is step up transformer. Step up means what? We are increasing the input. Step up. So it convert low AC to high AC. Then next one, if output is high, it means that ES greater than EP. Then it means that number of turns of secondary greater than the number of turns of primary. It means that secondary voltage is greater, means current is less for the secondary. So that you can remember for the step up transformer. We can draw a symbol of the step up transformer. So you can see number of turns of secondary we have to show more. So this is symbol. And these two lines means the core of the transformer. So you can see secondary transformer having a more turns as compared to the primary. So this is symbol of step up transformer. Similar manner, we can write step down transformer. Second type of the transformer is step down. It is reverse to that. Step down means high to low. Down means it is decreasing. Then number of turns of secondary less, because we require less output. So number of turns of secondary less. This sign is reversed. Number of turns of secondary again less, because we have to get a less output, so number of turns of secondary less as compared to the primary, so this sign also reverse. Then the current of the secondary is greater than the current of primary, and the symbol, so you can show larger turn here and smaller turns of the secondary, then we get the symbol of the step down transformer. Now here we are using step down transformer in home and step up transformer in MSCB offices, or MSCB transformers are step up transformer. So basically why they are stepping up, the reason is from when the electricity is transferred from one point to another point, which is at a larger distance. So we have to use step up transformer. When we step up transformer, we are increasing the voltage and decreasing the current. The reason is why we increase voltage and why we decrease current. Another reason I tell you here. In previous standard, you already learned heat produced in a conductor. Heat produced depends on I square RT. So this is Joule's law. So heat produced depends on current square multiplied by resistance into the time. So heat produced depends on the current square. So when electricity is passed from one city to another city, we are increasing the voltage in the step up transformer, but current we are decreasing. As we decrease the current, then the heat produced by that current is also less. So this is beneficial to decrease the current. So we are decreasing the current in step up transformer. So I hope everyone understood here what is transformer. This is very important article in board exam point of view. You can remember here, question may be asked on this, write principle, construction and working of transformer. Or question may be asked problem. So you have to remember this is the first hand formula for the transformer, as well as you can remember the power formulas also. The input power and output power. If you remember this and this formula, then you can able to solve any problem related to the transformer also.